Russian military bloggers are sounding the alarm about the catastrophic situation in the Pokrovsk direction. One of the Z-War correspondents, Svyatoslav Golikov, known as the author of the Telegram channel, Philologist in Ambush, described critical problems with the logistics of Russian troops. His publication was confirmed by Russian propagandist Tatyana Montyen, who also stated that the supplies of the occupation forces had sharply deteriorated and the rear roads were dangerous due to the active actions of Ukrainian drones. Golikov directly admits in his message, the logistics of the Russian armed forces are completely paralyzed. He complains that Ukrainian forces are knocking out supply routes, as a result of which Russian soldiers are left without ammunition, water and fuel. We could take control of the roads with drones, but we do not have extra crews, the war correspondent admits. He also notes that supply problems began back in December, when the Ukrainian Armed Forces increased pressure on this section of the front. Montyen, confirming Golikov's statements, emphasizes that the roads, which were relatively safe a month ago, are now teeming with Ukrainian drones, and the roadsides are strewn with burnt Russian equipment. According to her, even the delivery of food to frontline villages now has to be carried out only under the cover of the military, ready to shoot down drones. The Ukrainian armed forces are destroying the rear infrastructure of the Russian armed forces. According to Russian war correspondents, Ukrainian drones have not only blocked supply routes, but have also seriously affected the morale of Russian troops. Soldiers are refusing to return to the front lines en masse after training, and junior commanders are forced to put pressure on personnel to ensure that orders are carried out. The situation in the Pokrovsk direction demonstrates the serious consequences of the meat assault tactics, which led to huge losses among the Russian occupation forces. Now the Russian armed forces are in dire need of people, but Ukrainian drones continue to terrorize the front line and rear logistics. Z-War correspondents no longer hide the fact that the Ukrainian armed forces have achieved technological superiority in the air. FPV drones, repeaters and guidance systems allow the Ukrainian armed forces to strike targets at a distance of 20 kilometers, while Russian troops suffer from a shortage of drone operators and the inability to ensure control of the skies. European Union leaders on Thursday committed to working together to bolster the continent's defenses and to free up hundreds of billions of euros for security after US President Donald Trump's repeated warnings that he would cut them adrift to face the threat of Russia alone. According to Associated Press, with the growing conviction that they will now have to fend for themselves, countries that have faltered on defense spending for decades held emergency talks in Brussels to explore new ways to beef up their security and ensure future protection for Ukraine. Today history is being written, European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen told reporters after the summit ended. She said the 27 EU leaders are determined to ensure Europe's security and to act with the scale, the speed and the resolve that this situation demands. We are determined to invest more, to invest better and to invest faster together. The pledge underscored a sea change in geopolitics spurred on by Trump, who has undermined 80 years of cooperation based on the understanding that the US would help protect European nations following World War II. The leaders signed off on a move to loosen budget restrictions so that willing EU countries can increase their military spending. They also urged the European Commission to seek new ways to facilitate significant defense spending in all member states, a statement said. The EU's executive branch estimates that around 650 billion euros could be freed up that way. The leaders also took note of a Commission offer of loans worth 150 billion euros to buy new military equipment and invited EU headquarters staff to examine this proposal as a matter of urgency. Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orbán, a staunch supporter of Trump and considered to be Russian President Vladimir Putin's closest ally in Europe, refused to endorse part of the summit statement in favor of Ukraine.
Good evening, everybody.
I think today history is being written. We are coming out of this European Council very determined to ensure Europe's security and to act with the scale, the speed and the resolve that this situation demands. We are determined to invest more, to invest better and to invest faster together. From Paris to London to Brussels, we have shown that we are willing and able to step up our joint efforts and to coordinate effectively. Fact is that Europe is facing a clear and present danger. And this is why I presented the Rearm Europe plan today to the leaders. A plan to give Europe the military capability that it needs to face today's threats. It could mobilize up to 800 billion euros. And it is about taking more responsible on our shoulders for our own security because the urgency is real.
Questions? I'll start with Luis.
We have taken concrete decisions to provide new resources, new tools, new instruments for our defense capabilities. That means to invest in our economy and to protect our citizens. First, we have decided to invest in priority areas already defined by the European Defence Agency, reflecting the lessons learned from the war in Ukraine and in full coherence with NATO. Air and missile defense, artillery systems, missiles and ammunition, drones and anti-drone systems, strategic enablers, military mobility, artificial intelligence, cyber and electronic warfare. Second, we have decided to mobilize additional public and private funds for our defense. We will create a new European instrument up to 150 billion euros to support member states in boosting the defense capabilities that are urgently needed.
Rick?
We are putting our money where our mouth is. We are delivering on what we promised: to build our deterrence, to strengthen the security of our citizens, and in the process to boost Europe's competitiveness and our technological and industrial base. A stronger European defense also provides deterrence for Ukraine. Our efforts to strengthen European defense will also benefit Ukraine, because Ukraine's security is at the core of Europe's security.
Good night.
Thank you very much. That's it for tonight.
Hoje não deixam fazer perguntas. A ver, eu até queria responder.